Today's show is all about women's self-defense. We have the founders and the executives from SASS Go, and their life mission is to help women who are in a scary situation know exactly what to do or how to avoid the situation in the first place. So we hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Here for the Health of It. I'm Dr. Randy here with Dr. Tom. As always, we have a great show today. We have Shannon Henry, who's the president and founder of SASS Go. We're going to explain what that is. And we have Brett Brown, who's the executive director of SASS Go. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
And you were telling us before, usually when you're on a show or a podcast, it's about like assault or someone died or someone...
True crime,
something
murder
happened.
shows, Nancy Grace. So this is wonderful.
Yeah,
Nobody's yelling, nobody's dead.
This is the most serious of them all.
True crime is basically like crack for women.
It is.
really is.
It is.
Do you guys watch it on your free time?
Never.
I don't anymore because
Really?
it's so much of our lives that it's not
We
entertainment
live
anymore.
true crime. I can't talk on the podcast, but we live true crime. I feel like so that is not something we do in our spare
You
time.
don't? Okay. All right. Well, give us the rundown of how you guys got into this world
Yeah.
and what it is. Nobody knows what SASS is because I haven't explained it yet.
It's
So.
so true. So as far as SASS Go is concerned, we're on a mission to provide safety, hope, and healing for women around the world and anybody who loves them. How we got started, how do you want to go with that?
Stay right in the microphone.
Oh, sorry, I'm
there
not
you
good
go.
at following directions. I'm trying. How do you want to start with how we got started?
Just do the three things.
Oh, okay, I could do that. So I didn't know if we were going to go personally or organizationally because there's multiple stories that lead into that. But basically, so my background is in crisis intervention and advocacy work with survivors of sexual assault, relationship violence, and stalking. And when we came together and started working together, we kept hearing the same three questions from survivors all the time, which was, why didn't I know that this could happen to me? Why didn't I know what to do with my voice or with my hands when it did? And why didn't I know where to go for help? And so Shannon and I decided to answer those questions with education and outreach. We'll talk to anybody who will listen to us, professionals, civilians, whoever. Self-defense for women and girls. We train them from 5 years old all the way up. And then our case consulting work, so walking alongside families and people who are not getting the help that they need to make sure that they do. So that's what we do.
So you guys didn't have an assault that happened to you that took you down this road. That's what I would have guessed. You did.
I did, absolutely. Yeah, when I was in high school. And so, but I didn't know what to do with my hands and my feet and my voice and who to go to and who to tell. And so what it ended up being was just years and years of me trying to get it together, but it was always there and it was always bothering me. And I always felt like my mind and my body were not, I wasn't in control of them, and I was always waiting for it to happen again. And so there was a lot of hypervigilance and things like that. And so I did counseling, and that was wonderful. And I ended up I was in church, and my pastor and I were talking, and he asked me if I would want to come to a self-defense class that he was teaching. And I was like, first of all, why is a pastor teaching self-defense? That's kind of cool. Second of all, does he know? You know, why did he say it to me?
Oh.
That felt weird. And then, but I kind of liked it. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. And he was like, well, we're
You're
going.
into that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was like, let's do this.
Hell yeah.
And I had danced like my whole life. And so the physical side was like something that I was used to. And so anyway, I went into the class, fell in love. I was like, you mean you're teaching me to take out people's ACLs and eyes and things like that? And like, this will never happen again, I thought. Like, nobody can come after me again, mentally or physically. I now know how to, like, determine who the predator is, what's going to happen. But then if they cross the line, they're toast. And I loved that. Like, something about me was like, yes, game on. And so I told him, I said, I'd really like to give this to every woman I ever meet. You know, can you train me?
Yeah.
And he was like, let's do it. So we did it, and he passed it off to me, what he had started, which was already gaining huge momentum here in Columbia, and then took it and ran with it. She joined in, and we've now trained 34,000 women across
4 continents.
4 continents.
Oh, cool.
11 countries. Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Yep.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Columbia Family Chiropractic, with 3 easy-to-get-to locations, one in Forest Acres, which is by Trader Joe's, one in O'Neill Court by the DMV, and one in the Northeast by Sand Hills. you'll be sure to have somewhere near you. They offer a ton of services from corrective care, on-site digital x-rays, spinal decompression for bulging or herniated discs, dry needling for injuries, pediatric care, and a class 4 laser. They accept all your major insurances. And if you mention this ad, you'll get a discount on your first appointment. Check out their website at cfc4health.com or Google Columbia Family Chiropractic. That's cfc4health.com. Have you ever had to really stab someone in the eyes with your finger? Like to this day, have you done it for real?
No. But I would.
Yeah.
What's like the most savage thing you've actually done to a person?
That's on you.
So I trained in high school in these moves, never intending to teach it or anything like that. That's its own story. But I went to Winthrop for college, which is weird because you thought we were from Rock Hill. That is in Rock Hill.
See, I got the
And
vibe.
you did. So when I came back, I was living downtown in Columbia after I graduated, and that was before downtown was nice. Like it was a little sketchball.
Just
And
a little too far.
sorry, there
Why
you
does he
go.
do it?
There we
I know.
go.
Well, and I'm a wiggler.
See, can you hear the difference now?
I do hear
Yeah.
it. I'll try and stay close. But anyway, so I moved downtown. And I was going to visit my boyfriend. He's wonderful. We're married now. But anyway,
Nice.
What's his name? You want to give him a shout
his
out?
name is Carrie Brown, and I love him.
Carrie Brown.
Carrie.
It's funny because
I'm Brett, and he's Carrie, and it screws everybody
Yeah.
up. They don't know who's who.
Yeah.
Wait, Carrie Brown is his first name?
Carrie is his first
First
name.
name, Brown's
is
his last name.
But I always call him both, and I don't know why.
KB.
Really? Really?
When I talk about him.
respect.
But anyways, so I was going to visit him. It was late at night, and I stopped at that gas station on the corner of Hugie and Blossom, which at the time was not the best gas station. So I was kind of creeped out,
Yeah.
you know. It was windy, it was dark, and I stopped to get gas. And okay, all I saw was this dude come running up behind me. And I did not make a conscious choice. I did not pass go or collect $200. I turned around and I hit him. And I caught him right in the jaw. He got on the ground. I got on the ground
You did?
to finish the fight as I was trained. And he starts waving his receipt at me saying, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me. And I realized poor guy had been on the other side of the pump. Okay, it was windy.
Yeah.
Dropped his receipt. Ran to get his receipt.
Because of the wind.
I didn't see the receipt, and I took him out. And he was tall, and I was like 22. Anyways, I helped him up, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." You know. And he said, "What did he say?" He said, "Oh, you hit hard for a little white girl." And I said, "Well, don't run up behind people." You know. So I got in the car, and it was like a block and a half before the shake started, as I realized like what had just happened.
Yeah.
But it was such a big moment because it was the first time that I knew that number one, I would do it if
Yeah.
I needed to. I didn't know it before then. And number two, that I could do it. And that was a huge moment. Now, I never told him my name, and I did not go back to the gas station. But that was really the thing that turned the switch for me of that there is power in this beyond self-defense. So we know it works for that. But in terms of like hope and confidence and like I can determine the way that this situation
Outcome.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy just sucker punched trying to get his receipt.
I felt really bad after, but I was like, it works.
Yeah, really.
And
So-
we somehow found him. Come on in, Eric.
He still has back problems. He
Confront
comes
you.
here.
That's right. He might be a patient because he did hit the ground hard.
And you probably drive with your gas tank like on the verge of empty. Is that a thing still for you?
I had to get gas on the way here.
She was like, I've got enough gas to get to the gas station. That counts, right? I was like, Brett, no. No. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, what are some of the creepiest spots that women and men should know about being like attentive of the surroundings? Like, are there any spots that you guys go, all right, gas stations feels like a spot.
It is a spot.
Where else?
It is a spot.
Like anything come to my alleys?
Anywhere where you're vulnerable.
Dark
Alleys are
alleys.
bad. Yeah. All the things in the movies. guys. All the
Well, for me, that's such a hard question to answer because the majority of assault and abuse is committed by somebody you know, trust, or love.
Really?
So
So it's like in a
86%.
familiar spot, possibly.
You
or
have to
most-
redefine vulnerable, right? Like, now, obviously, we don't want to walk blindfolded down a dark alley at 2:00 in the morning. That
Bad
would be
idea.
a poor
dangling
choice.
your purse out.
Yeah, but vulnerability really depends on who you're with and knowing what dangerous looks like. Because
Yeah.
usually it's more manipulative up front than outright a stranger attack.
And
Not that stranger
70
assaults don't happen, but
72% of attacks happen either in your home or the home of the attacker.
Wow.
So and that certainly was the case for me. But I think what Brett's also mentioning here is that it really is about the person that you're around. That's what we teach people, is to look for two-legged threats. But there are situations where we look at you being more vulnerable, which would be places like you're talking about, obviously. There's places where you go and then you relax to a certain level to where you're not paying attention to your surroundings. So that could be a bar, that could be a concert, things like that. But you always want to be aware of your surroundings, for sure.
I always think like women going for runs, just like listening to tunes, oblivious to the world,
Beg
right?
people to take out their headphones.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we teach, especially when you're walking around downtown Columbia and you see all the college students with their headphones in, scrolling on their phones. Like, my two best senses for seeing or hearing danger coming have now been eliminated. Yeah. And it's not fair. Like, should we be able to run with our headphones in? We should. Absolutely. But it's not the world that we live in.
Right.
And so teaching people, and I think you can talk about this better than I can, in terms of stair-stepping safety. So, like, if I want to run, going through what's the safest way to do that? Talk through the way you do.
Let's just pretend we're working with a client and we might say, fine, you want to go for a run, walk them through, like, is it possible for you to go with somebody to run? And if they say no, obviously the safest place to run would be in your house on your treadmill, right?
Well, 72% of assaults happen
That's
in
true.
your home.
That's true.
Alone in your house. How about
Alone
that?
in your
Let's
house.
go with the
Look
doors
at us working
locked.
together on this.
Yeah.
See, this is stair stepping. But if you want to go outside, because some people will be like, absolutely not. I'm an outside runner. I'm going outside, right? Can you take a friend? No, I don't have any friends that run as fast as me. Fine. Do you have a dog? Right? So that's helpful deterrent. Also, can you take your headphones out? No, I have to have music. Are you sure? Yeah, I have to have music. All right, one AirPod. And now they make the AirPods to where, you can hear the outside noise
That go around
as well.
your ear, so you can hear some music, but
Which is good.
still hear sounds around you.
So there's ways, like, are you running at night or are you running during the day? And you can look at your client and ask them that, and they're going to go, oh, it's probably better during the day.
Right.
I mean, we know inherently what's safer, right? And then knowing your route, making sure somebody knows what your route is and when you should be back. Those are all things that are super important. But yeah, you can stair step those. You can stair step. We had a girl that was going to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, and she was scared to death because she had been assaulted before in a place that was, felt
A lot of people.
similar. Yeah. So just making sure to stair step that too, getting to your hotel. What are some things you can do to make sure that your hotel's safe? And then when you go out, are you going to have 5 drinks? No.
Or 25.
I'm going to have 1. Or
It is Mardi Gras.
29. Yes. So you got to think
If you're going to have 29,
Right.
who is with you?
Yeah.
Like, these are important
Facts.
questions.
Okay. Interesting. So, like, what are some of the other stats that you guys might rattle off that would be something maybe we've never thought about? Is it I'm guessing it's mostly men assaulting women, not women assaulting men or women on women.
It would be politically correct to say that it's, not that, but it's statistically accurate to say that, yes, it's majority are men.
And we have to be careful
Yeah.
with statistics, because once you start rattling them off, people are like, what study was it from and what year?
Yeah,
and
I
they
don't-
change a little bit.
I
But
agree.
as far as South Carolina and the United States goes, for us, it's over 90% of perpetrators are men, though we don't think most men are perpetrators. They're not, right? But it doesn't mean that women are never perpetrators. They are sometimes, but statistically speaking, that they have a much higher rate of victimization.
Yeah.
And then 1 in 3 women will experience domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking in their lifetime.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That's an epidemic.
So
It's
1
a
out of
lot.
3. Like, so there's 3 women in this room.
Yep.
Yeah, one of
And-
us.
okay.
Well, we know.
We already
We know.
knew.
We identified it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, that's interesting. Are you guys fans of weapons? Like, would you teach women to carry weapons?
I am a fan of anything you're trained and prepared to use.
Okay, nice.
Because there's
Like a
difference.
samurai sword. Say you have
Fine.
training.
Yeah.
You carry that.
That's just fine.
Well,
That's
it's
in
funny.
my car.
We trade a delegation from Uzbekistan, and one of the things they asked us is how to, because we teach people to defend against weapons. So if like the
Right.
perpetrator has a knife or a gun, we've got moves for that. But she was like, "What about a machete?" Which is not something we deal with a lot, but in Uzbekistan they do, and we were both like, "Machete moves."
Yeah.
We had to
Right.
think about
Gotta
that.
up our game.
But no, anything you're prepared to use, because sometimes the idea of a weapon is better than having one that you don't know how to get to.
Right.
Right. So it's just, I rarely say no when somebody's like, should I have this? Should I have that? I rarely say no, but I say,
Right.
do you know how and when to use it? Because
Yeah.
that's the biggest deal. But what I like is if for some reason you can't get to any weapon, you can trust your body to respond in that scenario.
Well, and I think you're understanding that your best weapon is your mind and
Yeah.
your brain,
Yeah.
and being able to see things and sense things and understand what you're going to do ahead of time should you have to do something is really critical. Everything else is an extension of your mind.
Yeah.
And so whatever weapon it is, it's an extension of you. My favorite weapon, not that you asked, is a flashlight, which is so simple, but something you
Really?
can carry on an airplane. You can take it into a stadium. You can use it to shine light in the dark to make sure you see everything. But then on top of it, if I need to use it as a weapon,
Bash 'em
you
in
can
the
clunk
face.
somebody with that.
yeah.
What size? Like you have a flashlight you like?
I do have a flashlight I like, and it's on Amazon, and it's so cheap. You can buy the tactical ones just to say you got a tactical one.
Because you add tactical to anything, it sounds kind of cool.
Well, it has the little sharp edges on the end, right?
It does.
Yeah, that's the one I give
It
my
does.
kids.
Good, yeah. And I like the button on the bottom because then I'm not fumbling for the button
Oh,
if
yeah.
I'm in a panic situation. I
that's
like
nice.
the bottom on the button.
Okay.
But high lumen is the goal.
Yeah,
You want it to
as
be as
many
bright
lumens
as
Bright as
humanly
possible.
possible.
Yep.
Okay.
You know what's crazy about the machete thing?
What?
And I don't
Going
even
back to the machete.
I don't even know if I wasn't
It's
planning on sharing
captivating.
this, but I grew up my whole life going to a chiropractor, and there was a medical office right beside them. I just found this out last week. A guy went in there acting as a patient and
With a machete?
he had the machete hidden and closed the door and macheted the medical
Oh my
doctor to death.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Literally just a week ago. Yeah. So
Are you serious?
Yeah. Or I just heard about it a week ago. I don't know when it happened. That's
crazy.
But yeah, it's
crazy.
so there. I think there is weird weapons out there
There
that
are
you
weird
don't,
weapons out
you wouldn't
there.
expect them. But like, I wouldn't be walking around with pepper spray or something.
Right.
I would
Right.
just need to know how to tactically handle a machete.
Right?
Well, and anything is a weapon. That golf club over there is a weapon.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Your coffee, your hot
Especially if you're a
coffee.
ball.
Yeah.
That's what
In
they
the right hands.
Right, yeah.
And your coffee, your hot coffee is a weapon in
Right.
somebody's face,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
And
weapons
your
are
teeth are a weapon.
They can be. I'd like to use those last,
You
personally.
do?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I would use that first.
Well, I'd rather stab
He
their eyes
leads
out.
with his mouth.
I got a T-Rex over here.
How big are your arms?
All right, so I'm curious about the like identifying predator stuff. Like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Randy always creeps me out. Like he gives me the vibe that he's like if his face showed up on the news, I'd be like, yeah, I
Of
kind of
course. I knew
figured. So I'm wondering like how how do you sharpen your radar on determining who's like a predator or gives off those vibes?
You should tell the USC story.
I should.
Yeah.
So
She does it well.
We talk a lot about predatory tactics and which ones are used to get and keep our attention in order to get what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first predatory tactic is making sure that they have charm. So typically they'll
Charisma,
come in and
Riz.
be charming, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
Boy,
boy,
this is looking bad for Tom.
it's looking bad.
Uno reverse card on him.
So far, so
You were blaming him because you're
I'm
hiding.
like, wait a minute, that's me.
And let's make sure we don't give a predatory lesson today either.
right? Well,
Well, yeah. What are the tips? Keep going on tips for me.
next subject, please. Just kidding. Okay, so charm, and I'll give this story because it gives a real breakdown of these top 5 predatory tactics, and jump in whenever. But so I had a student. I taught at USC for 12 years. I taught self-defense for women there, and there was a woman who had come to my class after an assault, and so one day when I was teaching predatory tactics, she came up after class and said every single one of those he used, and I was like,
And this happens every time we teach it.
Yeah.
I've never taught a class where
Like
somebody
there's a
didn't come up
formula,
and
essentially.
there's a formula
Yeah.
where they don't go, that's exactly what happened.
It's
Keep
a
going.
playbook. It's a playbook for sure. So she was leaving the USC stadium. It was the night of parents' night. So her parents lived out of town in the north, and so they did not come. But a lot of her friends did come, or their parents came. So they're in the game. It's time to leave. She had drove separately, so she had to go out a different door. It's a night game, and it was really, really loud. A lot of drunk people around her. And as she's leaving, she's like, "Oh, just annoyed in the middle of the crowd. And she looks over and there's this guy and he waves and he's like, get on the outside of the crowd. And she's like, duh, yeah. So she goes to the outside of the crowd and he's smiling at her. And she said he was very handsome and cute, typical college guy. And,
Sounds like me. Keep going.
It does.
well, he's already identified you. So anyway,
I gotta
as
turn myself in.
it's time. It's probably overdue. So anyway, as they're walking out, he's like, gosh, we should get out of here. Like, we should just walk out this way and avoid that crowd. Obviously, it was annoying you and it was annoying me. And she was like, yeah, it was. And he was like, well, we can just go out this door. And so we always pause right there and say, notice how he started using the word we, which we call forced teaming. So
It makes you feel like there's a connection when there
We're
never
together.
was one.
we're together kind of thing. Does he do that to you?
No, but I think that's just a standard pickup move.
It is a
Like
standard pickup.
I think anytime you think a girl's cute, that's how you do it.
Well, and it can be used both ways. Like, we use these things too. You
For
use them
dating.
too, but we'll get to a point where
I
you'll
realized
see
I even
where-
used it in classes when I would do my intro to say, we're going to have fun. And I
Right.
realized later, like, they didn't know we were going to have fun. There was
We
no
are not.
we.
Yeah.
you were forced
But I was
teaming
using
them.
my powers for good at that point.
Okay.
Anyways, keep going.
So as they start walking out, he has an umbrella and it started to rain. And so he opens the umbrella and he's like, where are you parked? And she says, well, I'm over there. And he said, I am too. We'll just walk together and I've got the umbrella. And she was like, well, this is convenient and really nice. But I always stop right there and say, are umbrellas allowed in stadiums?
No.
He'd never been inside,
He
waiting
was.
I
outside
have
to
no
hunt.
clue.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
You're just not aware of things.
I just don't take umbrellas anywhere. I think they're like a big waste.
I agree. I'm more of a raincoat.
They are a
kind of
hassle.
girl. Yeah. Or a hat. Like, yeah. Anyway, so as they're walking out, he starts asking her all kinds of questions. Are you in a sorority? Where do you live? Who are your friends? Do you know
Get
this
the
person? Do you know
details.
this? Yeah. What major are you in? Blah, blah, blah. And then he starts talking about himself and what he's in and all that. And she said she started getting annoyed because she was like, this is too many questions, like for a walk to the car, you know? And so she said, you know what? I've got it from here. I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and walk onto my car. And he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you mean? He was like, we were having a good time. What's wrong? And she was like, oh, nothing. I just want to get to the car. So the too many details, if we back up for a second, where he's asking all those questions and giving so many details, predators will do that in order to signal to you that they belong there, that this is where they are. And they go on and on and on because if they don't think you're convinced, because deep down, like, he was never a student at USC. That's not where
Right.
he belonged. So he has to keep saying it and saying it till he believes it. So it comes out as all these. Have you ever been around somebody who lied to you
Yeah.
and they just keep giving you all these details?
Oh, we had an Uber
It's
driver
kind of
like
a-
that.
Ooh,
It was
He was-
unbelievable.
I've never heard anything like it.
He met like
Really?
every celebrity, ran like all these businesses, but he was like driving our Uber.
Yep. He said that he beat up
Wow.
P. Diddy and kicked him out of his
store.
store in New York.
Glad someone did.
Well, it was a lie. There was no way this guy beat up P. Diddy. I was like, I think you would die if you fought P. Diddy.
Right.
P. Diddy had plenty of
He
people
had
to
plenty.
take care of business
Yeah.
if he did.
But that's the whole point.
What?
So two things happened.
wanna know
though.
more
Did
about
they ask
crazy.
a bunch of questions first? Because they do the interview
He just
first.
talked.
No,
This
he
guy
just started.
just talked. But I mean, he could have driven us to his hotel, and we would have in the middle of the woods, and because we were just so annoyed,
Right.
like we were just like, get
Can we
on,
go?
yeah.
That's where were y'all?
we were at a golf thing, but so our friend
In
like
Columbia?
It was out in Clinton, South Carolina.
Okay.
So like we just hired like a driver to take us to the hotel from the golf course.
Yeah.
And it was one of our friends is the one who hired this guy. So like he sat in the parking lot and waited for us to keep going back and forth.
He was able to think of a lot of things he needed to
Right.
share, apparently.
Well, it was the same story. So then we know that someone else was like, hey, I'm desperate. I need a driver. And our friend was like, this guy will get you from A to B, but you just have to deal with a lot of talking. He told them all the same stories on their way there. They texted him after and were like, hey, I don't
Just
think
so
this
you
guy
know.
really beat up P. Diddy, but just so that you know, he's telling people that he did.
I have a feeling that you're going to get like emails after this of like, I had that driver. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you brought it up. This could get fun. Go ahead.
I don't even know what it's going to say. Oh, the interview one to find out information so that they can then me too,
Sure.
right? We're the same. That's more force teaming. But then also, like I always say, they keep talking until it's convincing to you. And we've all done this. Not that I ever did anything wrong, prior to today, but like in high school, when I was late getting home from curfew, I would come in ready with all these stories of like so-and-so's car broke down and then we were stuck at the train tracks, just on and on and on and on.
Cat went across the road.
Yeah, which is why, of course, my parents were like, liar, right? Because it was too much information. So anytime somebody starts doing that, I think of it as like sleight of hand of like, look over here, look over here, look over here, so you won't pay attention to whatever else is happening.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then after that, when she said, I want to go to my car by myself. I'm good. He said, so you think you're too good for me. So you just don't want to talk to me anymore. And that is where they start to label you. Because
like guilty almost.
Yeah,
like
to make you feel guilty.
Yeah,
That's the goal. And if they see that it works, they're like, got it. So now they know the trick. If they just like, they're trying to be nice about it all the way to get to your car, which was his ultimate goal. Get her alone, get her in the car. But when that didn't work, he turned on the guilt.
And bear in mind, they will only use as much force as is necessary.
Right.
So up until this point, being nice was working. When that didn't work anymore, and now we have to see if we can manipulate in some way or another. Keep going.
Yeah. So
now let me pause real quick.
Yeah.
All of this still sounds like guys just trying to hook up with a girl.
Right.
Like so far to me.
Right. Yeah.
But go on.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So the difference is, once she said, I wasn't trying to make you feel bad, I really wasn't. He was like, all right, well then can I get a ride with you to my car? And she said, I thought your car was in this parking lot. And he said, well, it's actually on down the road and I just need a ride to there. And she was like, no, I don't think this is going to work out. I'm going to go to my car. You were lovely to walk me to the car, whatever. I'm getting in my car.
Can I pause it right there?
Yeah.
I just want to say this. The difference between the good guy who means no harm and the guy who wants to do what he wants to do, once she says no.
I'm good from, once
We're
I'm
done.
like, if somebody
Right?
says I'm good from here, you separate
Once she
out.
says no, you're done.
Yeah.
That's when the good guys walk away. This is when the bad guys don't.
Yeah. So he looked at her and he said, I'm going to continue to walk towards your car with you to make sure you get there safely. And here's the deal that I'll give you. If you just give me a ride to your car, I promise I'll leave you alone. But he really hadn't given her an option at that point, right? So she looked at him and she said, Shannon, I just wanted him to go away. And what the problem is we assume that when you make that promise, the unsolicited promise she never asked for, that you're gonna follow through with it, right? If you're a good human like me, then you made me a promise, you're gonna keep it.
Right.
But of course, that was just his ploy to get in her car to do the things that he then did to her once he got in her car. So those are the 5 kind of predatory tactics. The unsolicited promise is the deadliest one of all. That's the one that predators use all the time.
They're
if
out
you
of
just let me in
options.
the house to get a glass of water. Yeah, they know they're out of options. They know it's not working. That's
It's an
their
if
last
then.
chance.
Yep.
If you do this, then I'll do this.
So using that scenario, what could she have done to maybe change that? Because I feel like she's a little bit stuck.
Yeah.
She's a little bit stuck. I think we're really careful. There's no such thing as should have. Everybody does the best they can with the information they have at the time, and that's all we can ask of ourselves. So I think we have to be really careful with that phrasing. But in terms of options, we won't use her story. I'm going to use a slightly different one.
Yeah.
Is that, like I said, anytime somebody disregards my no, that's like your biggest clue. This is not somebody I want in my life. Whether it's a dude I've never met, a person I'm dating, a friend, whatever. As soon as I say no to something, that's not, and they ignore it and start to beg or anything like that, that's a clue for me. But another thing that I've learned that I think is really helpful is learning how to say, I've already answered that question. That has become the most powerful phrase for me. So we were in Greenville at a training event one night, and it was me and some of the girls training to become instructors, and we were hugging and saying goodbye because they were from all over the country. And this drunk little fella comes wandering up to us saying, oh, can I have a hug? And we were like, no. And he immediately was like, oh, come on, just a hug. Now, he did not mean us any harm, but it was obnoxious. And so I just turned and I looked at him and I said, I've already answered that question. And he went, oh, okay. And I've had so many people tell me stories of using that
yeah.
phrase, because it's just power in standing your ground. I think as women, especially Southern women, we have this tendency to feel like we have to be nice. And I've never seen anybody who was hurt because they enforced a boundary, but we have seen people who were hurt because the situation went on for too long. So I think giving people permission to say, and I'm not going to argue it. I even use this with my kids. So for the parents out there, this is wonderful, because I don't negotiate with terrorists, of like, once I've said no, I have already answered that question. And that is one of the first things.
Well, and I think, and Gavin DeBecker says this all the time, who's like the king of threat assessment in the United States. But I do believe that traditionally for women, when men say no, it's done. It's over. That they've already answered it. When women say no, it's the beginning of a debate. You know? And so switching that and changing that.
And that's a decision.
My no is just as important.
Yeah, that's a decision we make in advance, right? Of like, I'm going to stand my ground. I do
think that it helps to have self-defense skills to back it up, just in case you need them. I think my confidence grew when I had that, because it's one thing to tell a woman, say no, put up a fight, tell them you can't come to my car like you were asking, but it's another thing to have the skills to back it up.
Yeah.
Well, and to know how, knowing how is the key, because you hear people in dialogue say all the time, why didn't they fight? Well, how many people really know how to do that and to do it decisively? Yeah. So it's true, unless you have the ability to back it up. And we always say, like, whatever happened before today, you did the right thing because you're still alive. That's what matters most. But after today, we want to give people choices and options and things that they can do in any given situation to stay safe and be confident and walk around in the world to understand that there's a lot of good people in the world too. So I think, knowing how to, there's no such thing as 100% safe, right? We could only reduce risk, but knowing how, what the individual is capable of, that I can trust myself, that kind of thing allows me to move through the world differently and with my eyes open, so I can see both the wonderful and the obnoxious and handle as needed,
So she should have kicked him in the balls.
That would have worked.
When he made that promise, the if-then promise.
That's when we're done here.
Stab him right in the eyes. Because when I think about it, like, if somebody's like that is bugging me,
right,
I'll give them the option for a long time. But then if I feel like they cross what I'm comfortable with, then my natural state is to go 100 times more aggressive at them, like to completely flip the switch where now I'm the aggressor.
Right.
But I don't think my
You
daughter.
take me to your car now.
Yes, exactly. I would pick him up and take him to his car. That's right.
That's awesome.
But it's not my wife's tendency or my kids'
Right.
tendency necessarily. They would they would tend to, the more aggressive a person is, the more they would back away.
That's true. And, I think one of the things that we have to train into women, because we don't naturally want to be the aggressors. We don't naturally want to go out and fight. If I went out there and taught y'all some moves, you'd be in the parking lot doing them to each other before you left. Mm-hmm. Women are like,
we don't do that.
I'm going to keep that to myself. And if I have to use it, I will. We love to fight.
Yes.
But not that's abnormal.
The average woman.
Yeah, the average woman. But I think it's important that women have those tools and gain those skills. And one of the things that we say in our classes is, we want you to be sweet and kind and gentle. Our logo is the Chinese symbol for water, which in Asian culture they believe has a duality to it, like women. Yeah. One side is sweet and life-giving and sustaining and calming, and it'll soften the rocks as it makes its way around them. But then there's this other side to water where if there's a tsunami, it'll rise up and come into shore and take out everything in its path, including fire. And so we want them to be the sweet side the majority of the time. But if they have to go to the tsunami side, we want them to be able to do that and then go back to being themselves, They're
all going to get those little Chinese symbols on their lower back. Those tattoos.
They are. We have so many women.
And you guys have confirmed that that's actually the water symbol.
Yes, we have confirmed.
We've confirmed it, and we've had people send us pictures of the tattoos they got of our logo.
Remember when we trained that lady that was from China, and she was like, "I love your logo because it's such a dual thing," and she started explaining that in the Chinese culture it was women, and we were like, we know, that's why we picked it, and but it was cool to hear her say it, you know, like cool.
But people do have tattoos of it, which was kind of nuts when that first started.
Sweet.
But there was something I was going to say, but now I can't remember what it was. It'll come back around somewhere.
It's like the tsunami comes up and hits you.
Yes, for women, the difference is what we have found in our classes, unlike you wanting to become major aggressor and drag the guy back to his car, first we have to teach them that they're worth fighting for. They don't always know that. Then we have to teach them that they are capable of fighting. They definitely don't know that. But once those two things come into play, then they will fight if they have to. It's really interesting to watch. They'll fight for their kids. They'll fight for their friends. They'll fight for their spouses. But teaching women to fight for themselves first comes with them understanding that they're valuable.
So you think psychologically they kind of have in their mind that I'm not worthy or worth it?
They just don't know. Or? It's amazing to me. If I go in and teach kindergarten, like little girls, 6 years old, and say, you are awesome. They're like, I know. Yeah. Like, there's no doubt, right? But by the time you get to middle school, that has changed. And when we go in and tell them that they're important and they're worth fighting for, you see crocodile tears. And what's crazy is you can teach adult classes with women 65 years old, and they'll cry too.
Right.
The world gets to them. And so unless somebody reminds them who they are, because I always say, we were all born with dignity. And sometimes that gets covered up, but we're going to dust it off and hold it up high because we were born with purpose and for purpose. Man, woman, child doesn't matter, right? We just have to remember that we haven't lost that. We just lean into it.
And that it's worth fighting for. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what crocodile tears are?
Yeah.
I thought they were
my
fake.
daughter.
I thought they were
no,
fake
my
tears.
daughter does it.
Big
it's like when you get
ones.
the mega tears that are welling up.
Oh.
And here's the thing, too, going back to your wife and your kids. One thing that we always try to explain to women, and we can do it to them through the lens of being a mother, is that everybody can be dangerous. You can be dangerous. All of us can be dangerous. It's just a matter of pushing your button, right? So for a woman, her button is mess with my kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But for somebody else on the street who just walked into Walmart and is beside you, maybe he lost his job that day and this is his day to come in and get vengeance. You just never know. So understanding that everybody is capable of violence no matter what they look like, you just have to press their button.
Yeah.
And learning
important.
to recognize dangerous behaviors, like the predatory tactics.
Yes.
Flaunting a full Walmart cart beside that poor guy.
Right?
I
Full
still
of
have my
weapons.
job. How about you?
Taunting
then it's
people
over.
might not be the best way.
Okay, so all right, so I'm curious about this too. A lot of these incidents, are they inside of a relationship? Like, would you say most of them are boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife sort of situations?
When you
Yes.
say, you
Whether
mean
it's
as
like
far as who we work with?
Yes, like abuse that's occurred.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we take a lot of cases. So one of the things that we do is we do case consulting. So we will work with women who have been through something horrific and they need to navigate the system, whether it's legally, it's advocacy, it's the hospital, whatever it is. We work alongside them, making sure they have good people in their corner. So the right attorney and the right hospital staff and all of that. And a lot of those cases are domestic violence or even just sexual assault. We dealt with a lot of cases not too long ago in the downtown area. There were a lot of druggings that were happening for our college students. And so we actually created a kit that's in the hospital now so that, and Clemson uses it and USC's using it as well soon. And so it's a kit that helps detect druggings that were happening in all the bars and different places. So it just depends on the situation. We see it kind of all. Yeah.
We do. But yes, a lot of the stuff does happen within the confines of a relationship because that's harder to combat than because society responds when it's the stranger in the dark, right? We're all like, the boogeyman's terrible.
Yes.
We don't respond the same way when it's people who've been together for a long time. So those are incidents that don't get talked about and tend to build unless somebody intervenes. The druggings were unique. Actually not unique, sadly, but unique in the type of crime that we see a huge rash of that I'm glad that we've been able to do something about.
Yeah.
That one was different.
That was,
But yeah, we do see it all.
And
I'm because I'm thinking about that. We've had relationships of friends that you kind of detect something's fishy, right? But what do you do? Like, what does the average person do that may have their spidey senses going?
That's such a good question.
It's such a good
Yeah.
question. So we tell people all the time, because a lot of times once people come to our trainings, they're excited, right? And they
Yeah.
go out and they tell people, and then their friends realize that they get it, that this sort of thing happens, and that might be a safe person to talk to.
Right.
So what I always tell people is, if you know somebody, because we've all known somebody in some sort of unhealthy relationship, you can't march up to them and be like, hey, I think this is garbage. Y'all need to leave. Because that's never going to work,
In front
right?
of both of them, yeah.
It's totally divisive. Well, even if it's just you and friend.
Right.
They're so deeply immersed, you can't walk in and be like, you need to leave this.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't ever work.
Doesn't land.
And so instead, what we tell people is like, give your friend a call, text them, whatever, invite them to do whatever it is that y'all do, get coffee, go to the movies, whatever. And we don't talk bad about their partner, because that doesn't work. Instead, you invest in them, of like, how are you doing?
Right.
I've been thinking about you, whatever. Now, when you invite them, especially somebody in unhealthy relationships, a lot of times they'll say they can't go, and they'll give you like 90 excuses as to why they
Right.
can't go. And I tell everybody, we don't judge. You just say, okay, I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you,
Yeah.
and I love you, and I'll call you soon. And you keep doing that, because what happens in abusive relationships, and we've seen it both women abusing men and the other way around, is you've got this abusive partner that's telling them that nobody else on earth loves them except for them, right?
Right.
And so what they need to hear from you is that you love them, right? And you say it however many times it takes for them to hear it. And they're also with an abusive partner who's telling them what they have, this relationship is love. But what we can do as friends, when we reach out and call them, tell them we're thinking about them, tell them we love them, is show them what love is, which
Yeah.
is that it's patient and it's kind, it's not jealous, it doesn't brag. And when we do this, when that person gets to a place where they realize what they're in, they need help getting out of, that's when they come to you, the friend who did not judge and didn't put them down and said,
Right.
I'll be here. And at that point is when they say, hey, I think I need some help.
Sure.
And so we kind of, it sounds weird, but it's kind of like trying to feed a stray cat.
Right.
If you run at the cat's going to bolt.
Yeah.
You just put the food out and you let the cat come to you, and then you can help them. And so that's
you
what we
shoot
say.
the cat.
Or
Yeah.
that.
Not
Let's not
helping
shoot our
stray
friends.
cats.
Don't shoot any friends. But you get the concept, right?
Yeah, that
And at
makes
that
sense.
point, depending on the situation, you do need to reach out for resources, because the most
Right.
dangerous time to leave an abusive relationship or the most dangerous time for a person in an abusive relationship is when they leave, and the 6 months to a year after.
Right.
That's when we see people getting stalked and murdered. So making sure that it's done in a planned way. But all you can do is be kind. Would you add to
and
that?
I would say too, if they're talking to you about the abuse, like so say it stepped out of the like speculation mode,
Yeah.
and now you know that something's going on behind closed doors, giving them advice like, hey, you know, if it starts to escalate, maybe get outside of the house and stand outside. Don't be in the kitchen
Right.
where the knives are. Don't be in the bathroom
Right.
where there's hard surfaces and things like that if it's going to get out of control. And maybe set up a time that you call them every day just to say, hey, I'm here and I'm checking in on you. So there's little things that you can also do along the way, because ultimately when people stay, there's a gabillion reasons, whether it's kids,
Right.
financial,
Fear.
or they love them.
Yeah, what do they do?
They
Yeah.
genuinely love them, because all relationships start off the same. They're loving, they're kind. We don't go up and punch people in the face and say, you want to go on a date?
Because no one would go. Right?
Go.
So they've got to start kind and nice and sweet, where you're,
Right.
love everybody and batten your eyelashes before
Yeah.
it turns. And abusers use that love against you, right? That becomes the weapon.
Yeah.
And there are resources that are great that you can share with friends too, which we can send, where they can actually go online 24/7, and it's like an interactive safety plan, kind of like
Yeah.
Shannon's talking about, where like
Right.
if they're going to stay in the situation, here's some things to consider to make sure that you can stay as safe as possible
Right.
until you're ready to get out. Because you're right, there's a million reasons why people stay.
Have you seen, like, I guess in the counseling side of it, what is the pathway back? Are there steps, in other words? So somebody knows they're being abused or has had a relationship and gotten out of that, but is almost intimidated to date, or like, what are the steps that women could go through? Like, what's the counseling? Or does that stay with them? I mean, I guess at some level all the time, but there may be, I'm thinking of like a unique situation where a person was dating somebody who was sexually abused, but the guard was so heavy, like loved this person, but she was not, like there was just so
wasn't
many.
ready.
Like trying
Yes.
to hug a porcupine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that it like created, like she never felt safe, even though she was.
Got it.
sort of situation. And then it made me think, like, are there steps? Is there a plan? Is there a pathway? Is there some way to get back? And
So,
Oh,
go
I'll
ahead.
say something, then I'll let you add it. There's no way to get back because you're not the same.
right.
There is a way to move forward and figure out who you are. I heard one of the survivors that we worked with explained it as like, suddenly your shoes don't fit kind of thing. That's what life feels like, is the shoes you always wore, they no longer fit. So you got to find new shoes. And there is a process to that because, it's kind of like a major wound or a surgery where like that mark doesn't ever go away. It eventually does heal.
Right.
It just looks different. So what were you going to say?
Well, I was just saying, I was just going to use my life as an example. When my sexual assault occurred, it very much was like somebody pulled a rug out from under my feet. It was really kind of my second relationship that was longer than, a week in 5th grade or whatever. And so because of the first relationship, I think I expected the second one to go kind of the same way. And so when it didn't, and he, sexually assaulted me, and there was a knife, and it was scary. It pulled the rug out from under me, and nobody felt safe anymore. And so I dated, and it wasn't until I met my husband, if this answers your question, I was 29 years old, had never been married. And I met him, we went out. It was wonderful. He brought me back to the house, and he leaned in to kiss me, and I was like I did a total, what's that movie? Neo from, I was like, no, like,
Punch him straight in the
because
mouth.
I had decided like for 2 years that I wasn't going to date anybody because I was like, I need to figure this junk out because I knew I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted to have kids, and the clock was ticking. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be solo. I'm going to do therapy. I'm going to do all the things. But the great thing was when I said no, he was like, I am so sorry. So that was my first, like, you're different. Mm-hmm. But then the second date we went on, he brought me home, and he was just looking at me, and he said, would it be okay if I kissed you? And I was like, yeah. Because he asked permission, and that felt like, you're different.
Yeah.
Again, you're not forcing. So it was really, really nice. And he continued to just be this excellent human that I ended up marrying. And so, but there have been times where we have to walk through things, and I have to say to him, it requires you to really do the work.
Right.
It really does.
And he didn't know your situation, correct? Like at this point in your dating?
No, he did not.
Okay.
Although really on our first date, I was like, look, here's the deal.
What's
I'm a little jacked up, you know? And I just basically told him all the things. So in all fairness, he kind of did. So we went to high school together, but we didn't know each other. So he knew the guy that had done it, So I was just like, just so you know, this is me. This is what I've kind of gone through, but I'm working on it. But you're kind of the first guy that I'm dating after a little while. And he was like, okay. But yeah, were you going to add something?
Well, and I think there's no one there's no one way of like, how do we move forward? But I do think that there's like pillars to it. So yes, to counseling.
Yep.
Like, yes. And you have to find the right counselor. Let's be honest. Not all counselors are created equal. It's kind of like dating. And so we always tell people, like, if it ain't working, move on. But so you got to get emotional safety on your own. Like, who am I now? That kind of thing.
Yep.
I think when we talk about physical safety, this is when we talk about self-defense being such a big deal. It's cathartic. It's like because after an assault, it's like no matter where you go, there you are. And until you can trust your body again. So that's a big one. So emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and depending on who that is, but you've got to have hope. There has to be, something possible. So when you talk about physical safety, sometimes it's where you live. It's the relationship that you're in. Sometimes it's learning how to protect yourself. But those are really your pillars. And until those are met, it's really difficult for somebody else to come into your life and share that relationship, unless it's somebody really special who's willing to be very, very patient as you figure it out.
And in your friend's case, or your whoever, maybe they were ready, but she wasn't.
Right.
And she was still stuck. And you can't fix that.
No.
Yeah.
Like there were times, I remember a guy came up to me at a bar when I was in college and was like, can I buy you a drink? And I was like, why? What do you want to buy me a drink for? What are you expecting from this drink? And he was like, I am so sorry. I
thought you were thirsty. I don't know.
Save me $11.
I know,
Normally
right? But I mean, I was not ready, clearly. Like I was being
You're angry.
an angry child, right? Yeah. So no, porcupine moment there. But when they are ready, It's the little permissions.
Right.
It's the it's those
Yeah.
things that
Because I'm thinking for the men listeners that are, 1 in 3 women.
Yeah, you're
Sure.
dating
You're
survivors.
You're dating some of, yes.
Yeah.
And then not knowing, like, are they into you or not may just be, like, just ask permission, have more communication, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Use your words.
Use
Use your
your
words.
Use, well, so I've talked about this before, but I remember finding out that 50 Shades of Grey was the top selling book everywhere.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
haven't read it.
You haven't?
Have you seen the movie?
No.
But-
No. No.
I think there's another one, 50 Shades Darker, I think it's called. They have like a sequel. It's like a whole
It's a thing.
Yeah.
thing. But there's this idea of all these like aggressive, choked and spanked and tied up and all these
Yeah.
different things that seems, I didn't even know that world existed.
Right,
and then
sure.
all of a sudden there's tens of millions of books and the movies are a hit and all this stuff. So
And Satan's going,
I know.
right, well, I'm wondering how this plays into
Well, it
this
does.
world.
And part of that is like porn culture, right?
Right.
So now it's accessible to everybody, anywhere, at any time who has a phone. And
Yep.
so what we have seen, because again, I've been doing this work forever, 20 some
Yeah.
odd years, whatever. And suddenly we started seeing
in 2020.
the level of violence and the level and the age that it was happening. There was a shift. It was like the world switched on
And
its
strangulation
axis.
became like
It skyrocketed, which is an
Really? Main thing.
extremely dangerous like precursor to people doing really, really horrible things.
Right.
well, and if somebody strangles you in the relationship, they're 800% more likely to kill you within that relationship. So
Really?
yeah,
yeah.
it matters.
it matters.
But we saw that shift, and I think it's like porn accessibility and culture.
Well, and you get used to watching, like, okay, so your brain, it's like any drug. It watches, let's say I smoke pot today. and
You're
then
high?
What
I'm
time?
high right now. So anyway, let's just pretend I'm not for my kids when they
Someone
watch
should
it.
put that on the record. She's not high.
Remember when we talked about editing something out? I'm just kidding. You can keep it. But anyway.
That's going to be a full clip.
That's a full clip. Please let it be. Okay, so anyway, but at some point I've got to go up higher. I got to try something different to catch a high
To get the same
and get
fix.
the same fix, right? And the same is true with porn. And so what tends to happen is when they start in this genre, now they're like, okay, I did all that. Let's move to some violence.
Sure.
Let's look at things like that. And then it gets really
Yeah.
dark.
And I
after
think
that,
it's the way
so.
the algorithms are set up too, is that like what
Sure.
starts being sent, right,
Right.
gets more violent. And so what we start seeing is these young guys trying to play that out in their lives.
Right.
And it's devastating
And
for
it's
all involved.
devastating
Right.
for the girl who's like, I just want to love you, and if that's what you need, like, and then so that's our job to come in and be like, no, you don't
Right.
have to play into that. Nobody should put their hands on your neck.
Right.
And we give them the medical reasons why nobody should put their hands on their neck. And if somebody asks you to do that, tell them sure, but I'm going to do it to you first. Let's go.
Yeah. No, and I guess, because like that, I had that written down on like the sexual abuse versus bondage. In
Yeah.
those worlds, are they having people sign contracts? Like, what would be the thing that if the woman does want that,
So-
that doesn't flip the script?
It's a great question. And there are a lot of people that will speak to this that are from that world. And they say, like, it's very respectful. They have
Make sure
like,
that's like
certain,
on the camera.
they have certain parameters around it, and they have like safe words
Right.
for getting out of it. So while you're taking the beating, if it's too much, But I don't. That's not the way that sex
Right.
was ever intended to be, and that's not. Nobody deserves to be abused in the name of love
Yeah.
and fun and it's
Erotica.
just erotica.
And honestly, a lot of those videos, stuff like
Never
that,
have
people.
heard you use the word erotica.
You needed to, though, on this show. We needed it.
It's a new environment. No, but nobody in those videos, like a lot of the people who get out of that work will say, like, it's not like I was a little girl hoping I could be filmed doing all these things. Like,
Right.
and the way that they got there, usually there's abuse in the past somewhere. So
Yeah.
nobody is like, yay, let's go
Sure.
make this content.
Somewhere
right?
along the way, they lost control of their body, and so they still don't have control
Right.
over it. And yeah,
And it just gets really bad. So
And dudes are paying a lot of money for stuff like that now.
I know.
It's like wild, some of the things that are out there.
yeah,
And it makes me sad because they could actually have real relationships.
Yeah.
They don't know how.
No,
Yeah.
they don't know.
Are there patterns that you guys have seen? Like, I'm always curious too. Like, where does the evil come from the dude side of it? Like, have you guys seen, is it like they grew up in a household with one parent, or they have a history of killing animals, or
All those can be dangerous precursors. Yes.
like
All the hunters out there are like, wait a minute, this is normal. It's a deer.
You are allowed to kill deer and eat them.
Yeah.
In season.
In season. I am a God girl through and through, and so I'm going to take it biblical.
You can say we.
And I'm going to say that, the Bible's real clear about our heart being deceiving, and there's an open door to do bad things. And I think when that door is open, whether it's a kid that was home during COVID that opened his phone because his parents were at work,
Right.
and Pornhub was available, or it's a husband that is at work, or a wife, and somebody next to him comes in and is like, hey, I'll give you a back rub or whatever, and it seems harmless.
Happen at work.
Randy
But
does
it
that
just-
to me. It's so weird when he
Randy,
comes in and
stop
asks me,
it.
and I'm like,
He doesn't want to
I'm not comfortable with it.
No
gross. It's
means
so
no.
disgusting
It's a full
because you're just
sentence. But I think that those things, there's open doors, and it just depends on what we let in. It's really up to us. But having seen things growing up doesn't make it any easier. Having been abused or having bad relationships certainly makes it worse. But what would you?
Well, I think to your point, guard your hearts and minds, which is why I've never read or watched 50 Shades of Grey, because I don't need any of
Right.
that garbage in my life. But I think that, yes, opening the door, I don't know that there's one type of life that leads to people becoming perpetrators.
all
I really
kinds of-
don't, because
yeah.
think about how many people we've trained that have huge ACE scores, which is adverse childhood experiences, which can be anything from like a parent in jail or mental health issues
Right,
or whatever.
right.
And most of them did not go around attacking people when they said no.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think to your point, there's a larger evil. So yes, opening the door, but then indulging in it. And I think sometimes I do think who you're around helps a lot, because a lot of what we do is helping people set their standard. And that can be true for girls and for guys.
And
about-
learning to walk into a room and going, and instead of going, I hope they like me, going, I hope I like them.
Yeah.
I hope they're good enough to be in my company. You
Yeah,
know?
that's how I roll.
Yeah, it should be.
It should be. But that's the point. It should be. And not everybody's worth your time.
Right.
And so if you start seeing somebody being skeevy, step out. And if more of us would really lean into that and start, the phrase is slow to let them in, quick to get them out. Of like, once I see a problem, you're done. It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
Then suddenly you see that cultural shift, but it's just not where we are.
Yeah.
I think I must be in a weird subsection of people that I know, because
Is this another machine
always
story?
is.
Well, no.
It's
Well,
every day I'm dealing with something that's Canadian Randy.
I feel like most women have a gun in their purse here
In the
Where's
South?
here?
in the South.
Okay.
In Canada, they're
Not so
taking them
much.
all
No
away,
guns.
so
Yeah.
that's not a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Which my personal opinion is only the bad guys in Canada have guns now, which
Sure.
is
True.
scary to me.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the women here just have them, and I'm like, actually, I feel pretty good about that. When you're
Right.
walking anywhere, like a
Right.
gun is the ultimate equalizer, because it doesn't matter if a guy's approaching them, yelling at them, not taking no for an answer, that changes things pretty quickly when you
Yeah.
pull it out of your purse.
It does. And we do have an event where we train women both in self-defense and firearms.
And threat assessment.
Yeah, because it's, and healthy relationships and all the things. But point being, it's a great tool to keep people over there versus coming over here. I just have to make sure that I know how to use it. And this goes
Yeah.
back to the beginning of the conversation. Because if I go to pull out a gun and I don't mean it, and he bum rushes me and I don't pull that trigger, we've got a whole nother problem at that point.
Yeah.
So it is about understanding what you have, how and when to use it, right?
Yep.
And then again, having a backup plan if you can't reach
I
it.
kind of love that you think we all are just carrying too.
Let's pass that
I know.
message on.
No, well, I know. It's because I know so many, and I'm just like
think
start
that's
assuming
great.
like, oh, everybody has.
Well, my
Although-
son thinks that every woman is trained to like take him out, and I love that too.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
like, okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
there's probably a certain age where like the 40-year-olds I know,
Right,
they
right.
understand threat assessment. They've been through enough in life that they know when it's really dangerous and when it's not. The punching a random guy in the first. You don't want to shoot a guy for getting his receipt.
No, we want to make sure we know why we're using violence.
Yes.
But even like pepper spray, I'm pretty comfortable giving I think my wife, I always wanted to have pepper spray
And
everywhere
I
she
like
goes.
wasp spray, just so you know, versus pepper spray.
in case there's any
have you
wasps,
ever had
too.
well, no, but have you ever had to kill those suckers from like 20 feet away?
Yes.
It's super accurate. It goes a really long distance and it doesn't have the same blowback effect that pepper
It's
spray
good at the
can.
front door.
It's
good
great
by
at the front door
bed.
in the
Yeah.
in the pocket of your door in the car.
good.
It's a great thing because you can spray somebody with
Yeah.
it from really
Just
far.
roll down the window like it's like that.
I had
If
a
you got
girl
to.
one time that was leaving. This is an extraneous story, but it's worth it. She was leaving the mall, and you know how when you leave Columbiana, you're kind of blocked in on both sides in 2 lanes of traffic
Yeah.
when you're leaving. And a guy approached her from the side. She could not leave because it was during Christmas. She couldn't go this way. She couldn't go that way. And he wanted in her car, and he was beating on the window. And she was scared to death. And she ended up jumping out of the car, the whole story. But anyway, I thought to myself, well, I never want to not be prepared in that situation
Right.
for that moment because I may not necessarily want to shoot him, but I might want to have a weapon somewhere in my car door. So wasp spray is good for something like that or pepper spray. But I remember my husband came to me one time and he was like, hey, there's a screwdriver in your door. Is something wrong with the car? And I was like, that's not for me. And he went, got it, and just walked off. But I was, you got to be prepared.
Just to open the window. I just picture you like rolling the window down this much and just like
Jab.
Put your
Bring
eyeball
your
close.
eye to
Well, it won't kill him.
It won't kill. Well, depends. But
Yeah,
Right.
on how far
Well,
you
that-
stab it. My-
Isn't that the worry though? It might not kill him and just
No,
kick him
'cause at
off.
that
Make him mad.
point-
Yeah.
Well, when you take out the eyes, then there's all the biological reactions that go with the fact that
Right.
your eyeball
And
just
he
got
can't
stabbed
find
out.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can't see that
screwdriver to the
well.
eye. That'll help. Yeah, that'll slow him down.
That will slow them down. But we do in our classes talk about you want to neutralize the threat and what does that look like so that it's
Right.
not halfway because you don't want to just make them mad and hang out. So that's part of the training that we provide is make sure it's neutralized.
Yep.
What are there names for the moves that you guys teach? Like,
Yeah.
is it karate? Is it taekwondo? Is it a kind of a mixture?
Combination of fighting techniques because what basically happened is a lot of those like traditional martial arts
Yeah.
disciplines, they were designed for men. And their greatest strengths, which is all upper body, and for women, our greatest strengths are lower body.
Glutes.
So it's putting together.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. It's putting together a process that works for us. So
Yeah,
our greatest
yeah.
strengths against an attacker's weaknesses, maximum impact, minimum time. So a lot of it is pulled from Krav Maga, which is an Israeli style of fighting, but
Because
also
they train their women and their men differently.
yeah, they do.
okay.
So it's pulled from that, but then there's a few others that are kind of mixed in. So it's kind of a hybrid because the other thing we had to do is learning martial arts takes years and years and years and lots
Yeah.
of training, lots of discipline. We found out women don't have that, especially
Right.
once they're married and have kids. So we had to be able to teach the average woman how to protect herself in 2 hours. Like if I never see you again,
Right.
what I want you to have. And so it's kind of dirty street fighting
Yeah.
and reminding people that like bad guys aren't playing by the rule books of honor and discipline that they use in martial arts. Like
Right.
it's legit dirty street fighting and
Yeah.
teaching them how to do it
There's no honor.
decisively. There's
That
no
makes
honor
sense.
in this.
None.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
I like that.
eyes, groin, biting.
All about the
He loves
fighting.
the fight.
You start with biting though.
I just think it's so
ACL.
unexpected.
worry.
Groin,
Should worry.
ACL.
ACL.
Because then you're not getting back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he comes in and offers
then
to
you
rub
can
my
bite.
back.
You can bite after that if you want to gnaw.
Yeah,
a
that's
little
what, like, I think if I was a woman, like, someone grabbed my neck, I would just pull their arm up and
And
chop
bite
their
'em.
thumb right
All
off.
right.
I'm gonna have to work with you after this
How just-
on your techniques. We're gonna have a session.
It does make a big difference. So I went to Gibson Sa. He owns one of the big, he's like a Brazilian
Love
black
it.
belt
Love
and
it.
all the things.
World champ.
Yeah,
awesome.
still
Nice.
is doing, and it's awesome. But I was at a session. I was just asking him all these questions, and he was showing me different things. He's like, all right. I'm like, all right. Someone comes to me with a knife.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Did he
And
say
he's-
bite him?
No, he said, he's like,
Yeah, not a part of his training, Randy.
no. He goes, here's what you do. You turn your body this way, and then you run as fast
That's
as you
right.
can.
That's right. Running is self-defense.
We teach people that all the time.
It was
If
so
you can
good.
Get out
I was
of
like,
there, go.
this guy's the toughest guy, one of the toughest guys in the whole world.
Right.
You
And
turn
he
your
would run
body
with a
like
knife.
this.
But then he was showing me stuff. So he said, like, if they come at you with a knife held up like this,
Yeah.
he's like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
No.
Right.
He said, if they come at you like this, medium. He's
Right.
like, if they come at you like this with the blade here,
Trouble.
just
Run.
run as fast as you can, because that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, and that's so accurate, and it goes back to just making sure that we understand that running is self-defense. Self-defense is just self-preservation, right?
Should
So
you
that's
scream though too, like while you're running?
Sure.
I just
Yeah,
Make
you
all
want to
the noise.
alert
Loud as you can.
all the
Yes.
people around you of what's going on. Yeah.
Should we is that something you should tell people to practice?
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause-
actually,
do.
so we have instead of screaming, we do a no, which is it's called full key in the Asian cultures. But basically, you see athletes use it a lot when they do the shh and stuff like that when they're fighting martial
Yeah,
arts,
yeah.
all that stuff. But it engages different parts of your body that makes you stronger, faster,
Like
all kinds of
adrenaline
stuff.
surge.
Yeah, and so we teach women to do it with a no.
Is that why you grunt when you play tennis?
That's what
It
I was
is.
thinking.
Venus and
Yeah.
Serena do it. Yeah, you're exactly
Similar
right.
use of diaphragm at that point.
Yes, it's true.
So it's just screaming as loud as possible. The reason I was thinking about that is like I've kind of become numb to alarms. Like I was
Everybody
walking
has.
out of the store and an alarm's going off on a car, and I'm like, I get the purpose of
Yeah.
that, but I like glance and I'm like, yep, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus, and so my wife has on her keys like one of those loud.
Yeah, those things are awesome. Like
Yeah.
the birdie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
those
I
are
guess is kind of like I guess that's a different noise that maybe I would
It's
if I was like
loud, too.
trying to help somebody, I would maybe go to that.
I say something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
I always just assume no one is coming, regardless of
Yeah.
the noise.
Yeah.
So if I'm in trouble, I've got to be able to handle it myself until I get to someone else who can
Right.
assist. So
Yeah.
I look at it that way of like something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
you know,
I like that. Do you guys teach anything for dudes?
No.
Nothing for guys?
We don't
Why are you
care
guys
about
doing that to
y'all.
us?
we stay in our lane.
Yeah.
And we found
true.
out there's a lot of stuff out there for
Yeah.
dudes, all the
Yeah.
martial arts that you just talked about. And our bodies are built differently. And so we're not experts on what you need, but
Right.
we are experts on what we need. And so we're not she, woman, man haters. I mean, like married a boy, birth another, yay, boys.
Yep.
But this is a different need that we've decided to answer.
It's Girls Fight Club.
It is
Yeah.
Girls Fight Club.
Sweet.
They need a place they can go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what my wife goes to jujitsu all the time,
Nice.
and my daughters go there too.
Nice.
But they just mostly just like to talk and hang out.
Oh,
We're communal
I'm like, what do you
creatures.
guys do today? They're like, oh, we just like talk
Let
about
let me tell
things.
you how
baking
Betty's
recipe.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it has to be the moves that you're teaching have to be very specific, and there
They
can't be 30 of them. Like it
Correct.
can't be a 10-step sequence to get to the
Correct.
roundhouse kick at the
You're
end.
exactly right.
That's right.
You're exactly. Ours are quick, decisive. It's
And they're designed to maim. So like
Yeah.
it's not
Hurt.
we're not messing around. We don't want to take a lot of time. We want to make sure that this person is out so that we can go and get the help that we need. And so being very clear, like there's nothing wrong with jujitsu and all those disciplines matter very much.
Yeah.
But for people who only have 2 hours, this is what we're
and
doing.
we tend to do soft tissue defenses. So we're going for the things that hurt you the most to make sure that we're leaving. So maximum impact, shortest amount of time.
Eyeballs,
It's not nice.
beanbag, what else?
Beanbag,
Throats,
ACL.
nose.
Well, and we tell
Nose.
people like guys will fight with broken fingers, they'll fight with broken
Yeah.
ribs. You gotta get them out of the equation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nasty.
Okay. How about tell us a little bit about some of the events that you guys do? Like how is it groups of women that would bring you in as a like say there's an organization or something like that, or are there classes like we could send our wife to?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We've got a multi-layer approach. So I'll start with the instructors and then we can
go
build
ahead.
on events. So when we realized we couldn't be everywhere all the time, you
Yeah.
had to find a way to scale. And so we figured, number one, even regionally across the U.S., areas are different, and people from that community know their community best. So what we do is people who want to become instructors, they come in and train with us. There's a whole 12-week timeline before they can certify and teach, but then they go back and teach classes within their communities. And that's how the numbers have gotten so high. So that whether it's in California or we've got somebody in Kenya right now, wherever they're from, they can go back and teach those groups. So there's classes across the country and some in other countries that people can attend that's on our website. But we also have larger events. Did you want to talk about I Will Survive
Well, and
or
I'll
even
just
CHOA?
touch on that. So what she's talking about with an instructors, they'll train everybody from the family that lives next door in their neighborhood at the little venue that they have in the neighborhood, all the way to the woman that's in Kenya works for the UN. So
Oh, wow.
we, train a wide variety of people and organizations, whether it's the hospital system, like we're doing the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, which is a huge hospital in Atlanta,
Sweet.
training
Like
their
nurses
faculty
and
staff.
docs.
Yeah.
That's good.
got a
Over
partnership.
2026, quarterly, we'll be training all of them. But then also we do a lot of work, like the Uzbeks that came over were sent by the State Department and the U.S. Embassy for us to train. So it ranges. So it can
Nice.
be anybody.
And we
we'll
teach at
train 'em.
schools too. So like you've
Schools,
got
yeah.
Hilton Head Christian Academy, which we train everybody there from kindergarten all the way through their staff. So
And their
really,
parents.
when I said at the beginning, we'll talk to anybody who will listen. If somebody says, "Hey, we've got some women or girls that need to train," we'll send somebody.
Because
Sweet.
to go back to the point of your podcast, which when I was looking up a lot of the things, it was talking about how passionate you guys are about a healthy Columbia.
Yep.
And ultimately, that's where we started. We wanted women to be healthy,
Yeah.
but part of that pie of health, like the pieces, is physical and mental safety, And so that's a big proponent, and it just grew from there. And next thing we knew, we were kind of everywhere. So that's what we do with the self-defense classes. We also have a weekend that we do once a year called the I Will Survive Weekend, which is amazing.
awesome.
Brings in people from all over the country. And we have experts in threat assessment, self-defense, us, and then we have a firearms team that comes in. We also have a guy that used to work for the CIA who was a good hacker. And
Profiler.
he
does all kinds
he
of
does
cool
all
stuff.
kinds of cool stuff. But he
Sweet.
trains them on line safety, and he's got
It's great.
it's intense. It's good. But they come for the weekend. They leave different creatures. Like they have elevated themselves to like a. It's so fun to watch
Sweet.
the confidence when they leave that they have now, and then they go out and talk to other people, which is really cool. So we do that. What else?
We have the gala's more fundraising.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other.
We
big-
are a nonprofit, so, and I'll just touch on that really quickly because when we started, we were just doing self-defense classes and we were getting paid for those, fine. But then we started getting calls from LA and New York, can you come? And some of them would be organizations that were working with at-risk youth, and we wanted to go, but they didn't have any money, and
We
neither
didn't
did
have
we.
any money.
So we started the nonprofit so that at the advice of my mentor, he said, start a nonprofit. That way people can pour into it and you can go. So that's why the name SASS, Surviving Assault, Standing Strong, Go. When we became a nonprofit, I was like, this is going to make us go, and it did. So that's why that's
That's awesome.
there. So
That's
yeah.
super cool. Have you ever thought of like at one of your events to have like, not like I don't know, secret Santas, but like a secret stalker outside to like practice?
Practice.
Like the ladies leave and then somebody like Randy creeps up on them and then they
It's
use
funny
some of
that
that.
you mentioned that.
I have fake
I
eyes.
think they've
Like-
just come up with
like
a
up to the
brilliant idea
car.
for you.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because
getting bullets through
I'm
me.
like, where are you going?
do you not know the story about the news station that did this?
Oh, yeah. Tell him.
So, okay, a couple of things. Number one, we just, any woman listening, we don't do scare tactics. 'Cause it's hard enough for them to come in the room that I don't want them to think we have some
Right.
dude waiting to attack them.
right.
But
No red man suitor.
years and years and years ago, and we'll leave the name of the station out of it, there was a reporter who trained.
Yeah.
And the news station she worked for knew she had done this, and they wanted to do a segment where they had someone who was a police
that?
officer sneak up on her. And
From behind.
to see if she would respond with her
Yes.
training. And the question was, should we do this? And the answer was absolutely not. And they said, well, we're going to anyways.
Because they didn't think that the 2 hours of training that she had would be effective.
Oh,
So they had their crew kind of hiding and had a plainclothes police officer
Yeah.
sneak up on her because they knew where she was going to be. And she beat the snot out of him.
really?
And he was in the bushes, and he finally just raised his hand. And they came out to help her stop, and she broke several things on him, and they never aired it because it made everyone look
That's
bad.
awesome. It's kind of cool.
And
Yeah.
so we try and warn people of like, I wouldn't sneak up on them.
Yeah.
Like they're playing for keeps at this point.
I'd be worried about getting shot or something
Well,
like
that's a
where it
risk
like
you run now
escalates
too.
to
Yeah.
This
And
was
like 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years. I was going to say 2
These were
decades
wild.
ago. So,
Yeah.
I don't think many people would be looking to do that.
No, but we were like, absolutely not. They were
No.
like, well, we're gonna
Bad
anyways.
Yeah.
idea.
That's the online safety thing is a big deal right now. And I think for kids too, they don't understand
No.
how it works or they don't know real life. They have those. Have you seen the Instagram videos where the guys, usually it's big guys who have been sexually assaulted when they were little, they'll set up fake profiles, and then they bait all these guys to come in, and they just beat them until they can't function anymore. And I think when I see it, I'm like, there is so many of them. Like these guys are like
so many of them.
they're like, I'm pretending to be a 10-year-old girl, and I'm getting hit after hit after hit after hit of people wanting to come meet me.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
And so what do parents need to do? Like, what would be the steps for parents
That's such
to
a great
prevent?
question. So, and we do trainings for parents based on specific age groups of like, let's stair step this, because obviously the safest thing is not the internet, right? So like I always tell people, delay, the smartphones, the internet, all of it. But then it's kind of like the running, when are you going to do it? If you're going to give them access to the internet, which is basically like dropping them in a warehouse full of people you don't know, then you've got to put some safety parameters on it. And
because I'm going to add one thing in. If I'm an alcoholic, where am I going to go spend time?
The bar.
The bar. If I'm a pedophile, where am I going to go spend time?
Randy, you know that answer because you...
The playground?
The playground, but that's harder. But yes, the playground. Harder. But where would I go online?
Chuck E. Cheese. I think Chuck E. Cheese is full. I won't even let my kids
I'm not
try
sure
it.
about that gorilla, but I agree with you.
It's a purple alien now.
He's got a
gorilla.
full list.
Oh.
Yeah. But like little kids,
the playground, the trampoline
park is where I think.
Chuck E. Cheese.
You said the trampoline park. Just to be clear, the trampoline park.
I was like, what?
I'm like having a win in my moment.
But if I'm online, it's going to be in Roblox. It's going
for
to
100%.
Yeah,
Roblox is the worst. I think that's
I'm
the
going
biggest.
to those places
because
because
they
that's
use
where they
the same tactics that we talked about earlier. They just do it online, where you build a relationship and become friends, and then slowly move in that way. And so for parents, I think a lot of times, because your kids, their brain doesn't fully develop till they're in their 20s. They have no like this is enough or this is too much. They can't make those choices.
Right.
So part of your job as a parent is to make those choices for them, like help them. And so I always say, when they were tiny, you put them in those car seats that had like 18-point harness. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And the kids hated it then, but you did it because you knew that car wrecks could happen. So sometimes you got to do some stuff for safety that your kid's not going to thank you for till later to make sure that car wrecks don't happen. And so some of that is simple things of, yes, delaying, but if they're going to use it, you have to be able to track it and know what they're doing. So I think the technology thing happened so fast that parents were kind of playing catch up, running behind their kids as their kids are teaching them how to use it. And you've got to switch that. And there's some great services out there like Bark that help track what your kids are doing and send alerts and things like that.
And even tracks when their friends text them, and like it'll send you a marker for like, hey, somebody mentioned suicide, or hey, somebody, so it's the mental health aspect.
So it's tracking the whole phone. But then I think teaching them like healthy behavior when it comes to the internet. So, my kids know that any technology they have isn't actually theirs, it's mine because they're broke. And because it's mine, I let them use it. And as long as they use it responsibly, they get to continue to use it. But if that changes, then they don't get to borrow my technology anymore. It's kind of how I phrase it.
And I think it's important too, for me, I always told my kids, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about who's in there with you.
Yeah.
You're a good kid,
It's true.
until you prove me otherwise. But my kids are good kids. And so that's a good lesson too for them to understand.
But for us, thinking about like, where do the cell phones live? Like, does the kid get to keep them in their room at night? So for us, it's teaching that the internet is public behavior. So like technology, doors open in the den. It's not something that we hide or, so it's just deciding what works for your family. And that's going to be different for everybody. So like if no cell phones is not an option, okay, where do the cell phones live? How often do they get to use it? What services are they using? Okay, you see what I'm saying? And then tracking whatever that may be. And then having conversations about it. And there's a group that I really like called Protecting Young Eyes that does really great in because no kid wants you to sit down and be like, how's your internet usage? Because they're just going to die. But instead giving you one-sentence conversations that you can start having when they're really young so that it's not weird and annoying to start building healthy behaviors because they are good kids. Kids don't set out to be like, what evil thing can I do online today?
Well, and I will add the reason that it's so important, and I don't think you think about this, and parents always will ask me, well, like, when is it safe to give them the things? Or when is it safe for them to go from my house to 4 blocks away in the neighborhood? And my point is always, whenever you're comfortable sitting up at night and you don't know where your child is and you don't know what's happening to them, that's up to you.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting a call one time from the aunt of a child, and she said, Shannon, my niece has been taken. And I said, by taken, what do you mean? And she said, we're just figuring it out, but evidently she had been talking to a guy. Her parents had told her not to talk to him. They took away her phone. They took away her iPad. But her brother had, what's the thing that you play football on all the time? My son does anyway.
Xbox?
Yeah. And so they were communicating through that.
Good job.
Thanks. It wasn't coming up. And so he had accessed her there, but he was much older.
Jeez.
She was 14. And he convinced her that they were in love. And he showed up at the house
Right.
when parents weren't home, and he took her from Arkansas to Boston.
Dang.
And it
And
was
this
very
goes
scary.
to teaching them about dangerous behaviors, right? Like, and recognizing that in other people. And that's part of the training with parents too, is that especially our young girls and boys, they want to be seen, they want to be loved, they want to be understood. So predators are going to fill whatever role is missing. So making sure that those conversations are happening at home early and often so
to
that,
save the bright eyes of before.
to save the bright eyes of before.
Because they did get that girl back, but she's never been the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not coming back the way that they left. And so making sure that we're doing everything we can on the front end versus after.
And it's easier, I'll say this, I learned this from a pastor, it's easier to lay down guardrails in the beginning than to give them all the freedom in the world and then take it. Because they rebel against that.
Right.
I had freedom. What are you talking about? So lay it out early, you know?
We do it in baby steps.
And it's not, I haven't found it to be that like push back that much
Yeah.
if you do it early. Like we have
Yeah.
10
If you do
minutes,
it
you get
early.
10 minutes and there's just, I think the phone automatically turns off after 10
Nice.
minutes.
Yeah, you can do that.
And
awesome.
yeah, and it's, there's like enough stuff now. Like my wife was
Yeah.
showing me all the things that you can set up and all the
Yay,
apps.
y'all.
There's so
That's
many that you
incredible.
can do.
There's tons
but
out there.
I mean, they'll do it for all day long if
Yeah.
you let
if you let my kids would too. I mean, literally
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
day long, and we're not doing that.
No.
What are there websites people should know about to identify predators in their neighborhood? Like I know that there's,
yeah.
I don't know if it's, what's it called? Tiffany's or Megan's or something where you can like search a zip code and it'll point out all the
So
registered.
the state has a website for
Oh,
that
okay.
where
Yeah.
you can go online, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, but if you just type in, a search for
registered sex offenders.
registered
or-
sex offenders,
okay.
you can find them. It's free.
And then you can put in your zip code, and it'll show you who's in your neighborhood.
And then when you
Yeah.
go on walks, like we have
Oh,
one in my
there's one.
neighborhood, I'm always like, who lives in that house? And my kids are like, a sex offender.
Yeah.
Pervert.
That's right. And my husband's like, really? I'm like, hey, they need to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those things are important to know who's around you. And some areas are worse than others, obviously. And so I remember looking at the map of Columbia and being like, oh, not going in that area.
It's
Yeah.
scary
That's
looking at that map.
Scaryville.
It
I'm
is.
not going there. Definitely not sending my kids there.
Do you guys talk about the Matter Daddy at all?
Do we know what you're talking about?
The Matter Daddy. I thought I saw it on your website.
What's the matter, Daddy?
Not much. What's the matter with you? Got her.
I was making the joke.
Daddy, I'm afraid. What's on our website?
No, I just wanted her to say, "What's the matter, Daddy?"
Because I thought
Oh my God, it was a joke. See, I'm always late. I'm always late. God,
All right, that's good. I'm clipping that. Okay, my last
you
like
said
real.
it. You walked into it.
You guys held up pretty good on that,
Yeah.
though. There was a delay.
Yes, it was a delay. All right. The last thing I was thinking about is, have you guys seen a bias? So back to like when somebody's in a relationship, that it's tough for people to believe women, and or the opposite, where there's a situation where this gal essentially said like the church ganged up against her. It was her husband was the end all be all, and it was like verbal abuse.
Okay.
And so she couldn't get out of it, like literally trapped, and has been on a mission to like talk about that. But then the longer it went, the less likely it sounded real, which was like, and then I was like, I kind of noticed that a little bit,
Yeah.
where again, the numbness of how do you make sure something's real or not?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think time.
Like you want to believe, in other words, you want to believe
Of course.
if somebody's saying something that heinous or aggressive or
the
whatever.
unfortunate truth is that there have been times where, and it's not often, but there are times where even
We'll say this, that false reports can and do happen,
Right.
but it is a tiny, tiny percentage. What I would say is you have to look at what is your role in that conversation. So really the only people who need to find absolute truth are part of the justice system.
Right.
If I'm a support person, that's not my job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a friend has come to me, I have to decide what is my role. Am I going to be a support person? Because if I am, I'm going to have to take them at face value. But then understanding how far or how long I can help, and that's going to be different for each person, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where because I know exactly what you're talking about. So it takes somebody on average 7 attempts before they actually leave an abusive
Right.
relationship. That's a lot of tries,
Yes.
and they don't usually happen back to back.
Yep.
And lots of family and friends get to a place where they're like, I'm tired of watching this. Like, this is horrible.
Right.
I've told you could come here. You won't come. And they get very, very
Yes.
frustrated. And so I think it's kind of deciding what is your role going to be? What support can you offer? And maybe that's not you. Maybe the support you offer is another agency. And then go, it's not my job to decide what's real and what's not real because
Sure.
I'm not in that relationship. But what I can do and say, here's what's available.
here's some resources.
And it might be me, it might not be me for as long as I can. And
Yeah.
those are really the choices those are the only choices we can make.
Yeah.
Because false reporting is so rare. And when that happens, in our experience, what we have found is that it's coupled with mental illness. So there are much bigger
Right.
issues than
Right.
just what they're saying right there.
Absolutely.
And when mental illness starts holding hands with somebody who is also an abuse survivor, it's just a whole nother mess.
It's a mess,
It's
yeah.
a mess. But it is not common, though it does happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
That's great. So, and my last question is, how do people find you? How do they reach out? Do they go to the website? Do they
Yep.
go to your DMs?
Yeah. Go to our DMs. That's what you do. But yeah, so
All appropriate things.
all appropriate.
They
all
follow you to your
appropriate.
car. Like, what's the best?
I don't advise it.
Do not her anyway, not with the receipt. So yeah, SASS Go Global is our social media handle for all of our social media, and then team@sassgo.org if they want to email us. The website is sassgo.org. We're pretty plain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Awesome.
that's how they can contact
Awesome.
us.
This has been great. Thank you so much for
We're
being
so
on the show.
grateful.
Thanks for
This has
coming
been
on.
fun. Thanks.
right.
It's not a crime podcast, so this was
was
a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, good stuff.
We're here for the health of it.
For the health of it.
Just a quick note, this podcast is for informational purposes only. We're not meant to replace your doctors, and nothing here should be taken as medical advice. Always check with a qualified professional before making decisions about your health. The views and opinions expressed by our guests or hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of this podcast. Reliance on any information provided is solely at your own risk.